Hello everyone, my name is Loco, and welcome to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Protoss versus Zerg. We're in game number 1 in the top left-hand corner. I believe this is 10,000 feet? I don't know, it's a lot of feet. Playing right here with the red Protoss pieces from Poland. We're looking inside of the main base of Mana. And his opponent, all the way in the bottom right with the blue Zerg drones, he goes by the name of Reynor. And Reynor, of course, is from Italy. Now, I heard that this particular series features some fresh Protoss mozzarella. At least when you're executing it against Reynor. A little bit of Parmesan. Now, I would like to see, is there any famous Polish cheese? There might just be. Either way. This game is not starting off with anything all too aggressive, but I've been told that we are going to be seeing some nasty strategies coming out of the Protoss, which I found quite curious because Mana in general, at least in my mind, is not a very cheesy player at all. Most of the time he likes to, I mean, I know he's got this Canon Rush to Grandmaster series, but most of the time, even though he executes it every once in a while, most of the time he really does favor the more macro approach. So we'll see. It's going to be a gateway, though, into a Nexus for now. Obviously, cheesing the top-level players is always difficult, right? So, cheese, it's one of those strategies that, generally speaking, gets worse the higher you climb up on the ladder. On the lower ends of the ladder, everything's cheese. The whole world is aggression. But then at some point, maybe you learn to hold it. You can climb up a little bit higher on the ladder. And, yeah, at a certain point, Grandmaster... mid-Grandmaster or so, like, cheese becomes... quite infrequent. Not impossible, but relatively infrequent. And obviously the reason is that most of the time, cheesing itself, being the early game aggressor, is way easier than being the defender. So usually being on the receiving end of that is way more difficult because, well, you have to... It's actually the case with, I think, every strategy game I've ever played. If you ever start a new RTS game, right, or maybe you want to be a competitive player in literally anything new, I think it's pretty much always better to be the aggressor, especially early on. Now, what's this? There's a giant gap in the wall, which I kind of hate. I don't think that's a... I don't think that's gonna... Alright, anyways, we'll have to keep an eye out on exactly what Mana does. He probably adds another pylon right over here or so, just to keep everything reasonably safe. It's gonna be a Stargate for now. No surprise there. Even though the energy recharge has been nerfed a little bit, it is still certainly the go-to build order in this particular matchup. We've seen some Protoss players mess around again with Archon drops and all the rest of it, which I'm a big fan of. I would love to see a little bit of that as well from Mana. I know he's done that strategy quite a bit in the past, but no surprise here to see an Oracle to start things off. It's just still such a nice early and then also a mid-game tool. And, well, if you keep it around and the game does go the distance, even in the late game, those oracles are very useful in combination with, well, for example, Tempest or quite literally anything else. Just having some revelation thrown onto the opposing player's army is very valuable. So this is just something that you can get early on for aggression. You can get it for scouting. You can get it for, well, keeping your third Nexus safe, which Mana is building, by the way, incredibly early. So this is about a 335 or so third Nexus. Only getting 2 gateway units, delaying the second gate over there too. Now he's obviously walled himself in. There are a lot of Zerglings going in around the back, and I guess we'll find out whether or not this hole is indeed too wide. Well, the Stalker is thick. He should be fine. It's a bit messy. Second Oracle, though, should be coming out. No, we actually don't build one at all. Okay. So it's a single Oracle only. And I guess because Mana decided to build this one really quite early and then also a super fast third, he doesn't really feel the necessity to send this Oracle out onto the map all too far. Yeah. The goal, of course, is to grab an eco advantage. And just having the faster third Nexus will likely allow this Oracle to just chill for a little bit. I don't think the Oracle, therefore, is going to do all too much, but already, right, just by seeing it, Reynor has been forced to respond with Spore Crawlers. Usually, actually, for Zerg players, it's not even seeing it that triggers the spores. Just knowing that you're playing against Protoss is usually enough reason to be building at least 1, maybe 2 of those Spore Crawlers blindly. Well, let's see. A little bit of aggression here at the front. Again, very conservative here by mana. Adepts, though, do get into the main base. Okay. Not too shabby. I don't mind this. He is going to lose the Adepts eventually, but he already forced out a whole lot of Zerglings. Yeah, 2 drones in the end is pretty lackluster. You do want to get a bit more, but not the end of the world. Third Nexus is 100% safe. We have a Templar Archive right now on the back of this already, and this is going to be Archon juggling. Okay, we're just doing it at a slightly different time than what I was mentioning earlier. So this is a Twilight Council into a Quick Templar Archives, but we're not getting Blink. We're not getting Charge. Instead, we're going straight, yes, into 4 High Templar on the other side of the map. They merge together into Archons, and we're going to start juggling. Let's see. How much juggling can we do? Spore Crawler is still useful here, by the way. Just putting it in like the edge of the map, for example, or the edge of the main here, can do quite a lot. Obviously, this all comes down to micro. You can deal a lot of damage with Archons. Archons are like 95% shields. So if you see that blue bar going down, that's usually the indication that, well, you need to get out. Obviously, if the Prism dies with the 2 Archons inside of it too, that would be problematic. But this is one of those compositions that I've always just been a fan of. I think it's just cool. Technically, there's no risk here if you micro it well. And that is exactly the problem. He wants to snatch it. Okay, he does get it. High risk, high reward. But it's a reward that you can aim for yourself. The same for the risk. Very much so within your control. You're really just trying to be a nuisance. In the meantime, the Oracle is being microed as well. Obviously, we do have macro on the back of this as well. So, yep, Storm coming up right now together with the Charge upgrade. +1 ground is coming. I gotta say, I really like what Mana is doing here across the board. The Adept aggression was a little bit unlucky, I suppose, but those are the only units he's lost. He's still dancing in the main. He's gonna get a Queen as well for his troubles. Snatches the units again right before the Roaches arrive. And so far, look at this. Reynor has been an absolute punching bag. This is all off of a 315 or so 3rd Nexus. So it's not like Mana is committing to heavy unit production early on. As long as he doesn't do something stupid, like lose the Prism with 2 Archons inside of it, this is a flying start for Protoss. Don't lose units for free, though. It's just a bit silly. All right. Oracle is going to be able to get away. Maybe we can do some Storm drops on the back of this. I wouldn't hate it. Charge is done, so... yeah, it is important not to throw units away, right? Sometimes you see a start like this as Protoss, and you're like, oh, this is amazing! Send in the skeletons! And then you look at the supply count right now, and you realize, you're still playing against a God-tier Zerg. Despite the bullying, Reynor's at 85 drones. He's got Roach speed done. He's going into an infestation pit. We have the Hydras. They are already getting their upgrades. I'm assuming we're going to see the ranged research here in just a sec. But Reynor's creep rate is still more than okay. Even though this has been a good start for Mana, it's not one where you can just really go for the attack move and, well, finish it immediately. So we're going to have a follow-up plan. 4th Nexus is indeed going to be key. Ooh, look at the Immortal count, though. We're already up to 6 Immortals. Yeah, he does have double Robo. I was going to say, how is he making that many? But the double Robo here is allowing him a lot of production. This is a ground army that can actually deal with Lurkers and Hydras quite nicely. Fleet Beacon right now on the back of this as well for Mana. We've got ourselves 2 Warp Prisms out too. One of them moving on the right. One of them is following around the main army. Mana is playing some really interesting StarCraft here. Like, in theory, all of this makes sense. It's just that in execution, it's so easy for things to go horribly wrong. Zealot Warping inside of the main. Storms are going to be pivotal here. Okay, there's one. Not a terrible one. Zealots, though, are such a big distraction. Hive is going to start getting a bit of a beating as well here, I believe. If you can kill that, that would be massive, but that's not going to happen. He decides to just recall them. Dude, Mana is playing really nicely. Mothership's coming up. Immortal production continues. And what's nice about Immortals, right? When you get a head start with the Robo production, with the Archons, with the Storm and all the rest of it, you can actually fight Lurkers with a ground army just fine. Most of the time we see Protoss players forced into Skytoss, so they feel like they need to go Tempest in order to beat the Zerg army. But I don't think that's necessary here at all. With 8, with 8 Immortals, you can do a lot of work. Well, you do have to make sure you got detection, though. Oh, you can storm over the crevice. Sure. Why not? Look how long storm lasts. Ay, ay, ay. Honestly, not a bad idea. Yeah, just storm them. He needs to transfuse them just to stay alive. But Storm is certainly now a reasonable choice to force your opponent to unsiege the Lurkers. Revelation here would be so nice. We should certainly use the Revelation. He's still storming over here. Zealots are being a nuisance as well. Mothership is just about to be ready. Tempest production has begun. 5th Nexus coming up in the upper right-hand corner too. I think this may be the best game I've ever seen Mana play. I've seen a lot of Mana games over the years, but this one just makes so much sense. I think a lot of people would see a matchup like this, and no disrespect to Mana, but I think in a lot of people's minds this is almost like a bit of a mismatch, just because Reynor is so much more successful as a tournament player, but jeez. Look at him, he's crushing it. I think he can fight this, man. The observers, by the way, are now, of course, visible when they siege up. That was a costly fight, but I think it was even more costly on the side of the, well, Zerg. Still, though, you can't count Reynor out. He loses a base, he loses an army, but he is going to be able to macro his way up again very easily, and it's absolutely critical that this Protoss army does not overextend. We're investing into, additional Stargates right now. Tempest production has kicked in, but the High Templar are mostly gone. There's only 2 of them out on the map right now. And I still don't believe that Mana is in a position to just waltz over this Zerg army and kill everything. Mama, though, has got a mission of her own. Let's go, Mama. Look at the Hydras trying their best. We are going to recall. We're sending the entire force in. Is this an overextension by the Protoss, or is it a brilliant move? Well, keep in mind that the Mothership itself is also a massive magnet for pretty much the entire Zerg army. She has a lot of HP to work with. I wouldn't mind seeing the cloaking field being activated, but I guess, yeah, there we finally go. Now the Overseers are nearby. We probably should have done that before the Overseers arrived. Mama took a lot of damage, and I gotta hand it here to Reynor. He's still doing an excellent job making the best of an extremely difficult scenario. That entire Protoss army just got wiped off the map. Now Zerg, of course, is capable of rebuilding. Protoss can as well, but this is not the Gateway Man style. We only have 9 gateways here. Prism goes down. It's important here for Mana to not get too carried away. But I feel like this is just the right mix of crazy play and macro-oriented aggression as well. Love this Zealot run by over here on the left. Such a nuisance. Very few Lurkers available. I'm impressed that Reynor actually found the time to morph new ones. Very easy to just be caught up in the defense here and never really find new ones. Okay. 5th base, up and running. +3, coming right up. I wouldn't mind maybe seeing some more +2 upgrades here inside of the Cyber Core for the flying units. Reynor needs Corruptors against this. Or Abduction. Abduction with Hydras. Yeah. I think this base is super dead, though. We are going to be going into the Tectonic Destabilizers upgrades, which will double the damage the Tempest deal against structures. This hatchery would have been super dead a while ago already with that research, but he's going to get it, I guess, for the next base. Oh. We have a Scouting Immortal on the right side of the map. Curious play there. I guess that was a re-rallied robo facility there where an observer was previously produced. This army here for the Protoss is looking pretty mighty. I'm impressed with how Mana is yet again out on the map to do this right here, right now. This little counterattack, though, from Reynor could certainly put in some work, but Storm, I think, is going to be enough. Oh, Observer goes down, though. He knows where the Lurkers are. Decides to recall. Play it safely. Bring the rest of the army back. Flanking Storms, baby! Woo! Get off my lawn! Shouts Mana in Polish. Which probably means that there's a lot of letters, but very few vowels. That's how I recognize Polish on the internet. 20-letter words, 2 vowels. Slight exaggeration, but usually that's what it looks like to me. All right, let's see. Again, we're straight back to the fights. Feedback? Ooh, double feedback here. A couple of the units will go down, but all of the Tempests, or all of the Vipers rather, do end up falling. Nice little counterattack yet again, though. Reynor is so freaking dangerous. Every time you think that Zerg is just about dead, Reynor somehow, some way musters up another army. And you know what? You look at the income, 63 drones is not terrible. A Nexus goes down. Lovely hit squad. This was like 2 Lurkers and like 6 Hydras. Well, there may have been a few more units when they first moved out, but it's a relatively small army getting, I think, about maximum amount of damage that they could do. Slowly but surely, though, Mana is choking out his opponent. He is getting a 6 base right now, and this is still a Protoss army that can overextend. But I have faith here that Mana has got a perfect read on the situation. Yeah. Here's some reinforcing units trying to flank this army, but I think there's another Storm available. Yep, there we go. A beauty of a Storm it is. GG. Wow. Mana absolutely dominates game number 1. Okay, that takes us to Tato Citadel. Game number 2 in this best of 3 series. Beauty of a game from Mana. I feel like that's the type of game that you try to dream of at night. Am I the only one that does that? You know, you have a dream about playing the perfect strategy. It's layered aggression. You go for a super greedy third. Go for an adept run by together with the Oracle. You follow it up with Archon juggles. Follow it up with quick storm. Do a push with double robo immortal. In the meantime, you make yourself a fleet beacon and transition towards the Mothership. Add a Tempest production in there. Go for another 2 Stargates. Add up to 9 gateways. Get the 5th and the 6th. Like, it's the perfect game. It is the perfect game. And then to boot, you take down one of the very best Zerg players on the planet. Yeah, this is my dream every night for a very long time. It has never happened. It has never happened, but I think it just did happen right here for Mana. Lovely game. Honestly, all jokes aside, that was a very well executed strategy by our Polish player. Mana, by the way, I feel like has been playing this game since forever. Let me see. When was Mana's... I think I can find this on a league. Like, when was Mana's first tournament game? I think Mana is actually younger than me. So I am old. I'm officially 33 years old. Yeah, he's 31. And his first tournament game was in February of 2010. That's actually kind of crazy. I didn't even realize it was before StarCraft 2 even came out. So his first tournament match was in February of 2010. That must have been during the beta of StarCraft 2. Isn't that crazy? 2010, February. That's like almost 10 years ago now. It's crazy how fast time flies. Reynor's very first tournament match, while the Illegal Leg website is quite slow. I'll get back to that, or I'll get back to you about that in just a second. Oh, it's loaded. Apparently, his first match was in 2013, but Reynor, of course, was born in the year 2002. You can do the math. Fun fact, actually, for some time, Reynor did hold the world record of youngest Grandmaster player ever. It has since been overtaken. I'm not exactly sure who currently holds it. I think it's Fire, if I'm not mistaken. So he was born in 2007. But I'm not exactly sure if he still holds the record. Anyway. Maybe Iba? Could be Iba. Oracle. It's going to be moving out yet again. This is a different follow-up here. Actually, I think it was Fire and then Iba overtook Fire. And I think Fire overtook Reynor. I think that's about right. Although I'm not 100% sure. It does become incredibly hard, of course, too. Yeah, so Iba reached Grandmaster at the age of 11 in 345 days, becoming the youngest player to do so in the game. Isn't it crazy? 11 years old. Grandmaster in StarCraft 2. Ay. Anyway. This is a different build order here from Mana. It's a later third Nexus than what we saw in the previous game. It likely means that all of this aggression is slightly earlier, although it doesn't seem to matter that much. We'll have to keep an eye out on exactly what the follow-up is going to be here from Mana. Because it's again only a single Oracle. I wonder if that means that yet again we're going to go into Archon juggles. Yeah, it could have been me, but I believe StarCraft 2 came out when I was like 18, you know? If it wasn't for that, I clearly would have been like 8 and Grandmaster. But you know what? Yeah, time is linear. And, you know, as far as I'm aware, can't travel back. Yeah, it is going to be Archon juggles yet again. I like this. I mean, it worked in the previous match. Why not? Is Reynor going to make any adjustments? Well, for now, we do not have a Roach Warren. He is playing a rather early, greedy early game, though. Wait, a rather early, greedy early game? Sure, let's go with that. Because he's getting the +1 missile started, but he doesn't even have any units that benefit from it other than the queens. Now, I don't want to say that the queens are pointless. Really? It's a very fast spire here. I am almost wondering if you forgot building the Roach Warren. I thought this was going to be for Hydras for sure. We're getting +1 missile while rushing up a spire? Interesting one right here from Reynor. It could certainly be a misplay. But it'd be an odd one, because it's one of those things that you do double check, and obviously it's hotkeyed, it's not clicked. Ooh, careful now. So far, the damage here has not been too amazing from Mana, but maybe he can turn the tides here. Yeah, I don't like seeing the Prism take this much damage this early. Ugh. It's kind of ugly now, right? Not nearly as flying of a start as what we had in the first game of the series. And, I mean, keep in mind that the Spire now builds quicker. It's 150 gas, too, rather than 100 or 200 that it used to be, so you save quite a bit. And Mutas are going to be out in, I think, about a half-minute time. There's a good chance that it's not something that Mana is thinking of at all. It's very unlikely that he's going to be checking for it. Yeah, so this Prism... Ooh, it recalls. Okay. I like that. I think it's absolutely critical to not lose a Prism with 2 Archons inside of it. Because if you do lose it, then the Muta counterattack is going to be really tough. He knows. What even gave it away? I guess the lack of anything probably is what's throwing Mana off a little bit. He is making a Phoenix with very little intel. This is one of those Star Sense moments. He's probably just going to make 1 or 2. And then if the Mutas are indeed confirmed, he must have seen them. He must have known somehow. That's a crazy call, though. It's a very fast 4th Nexus, by the way, here for Mana. And one that I think is going to be difficult to keep alive. Yeah, it's a very fast storm upgrade yet again, too. This Nexus is toast. No cancel. Yeah, and this becomes the type of game that can now very easily spiral out of control. It's good that Mana kept the Prism alive, because if he would have lost the Prism with 2 Archons inside of it as well, it almost feels like game over. But losing the Nexus there, that's a flat 400 minerals down the drain. It's a little bit too much. Okay. Looks like it's just 8 Mutas here. And then straight to Hydra-bane. I don't understand why we decided to go for the +1 missile first. I'm assuming that we are going to be going into, yeah, just a timing attack from here. But it would make a lot more sense to get the +1 missile going first. If you are indeed getting roaches into the mix. If this would have been some sort of adept all-in. Ugh. It would have been messy. Now suddenly, we're going Fleet Beacon on 4 bases, but the 4th base is not yet up, meaning that we don't have the gases taken over here. And while Storm is there, right, we can get certainly some value out of Storm. There are just about 27 Banelings knocking at the front door of the 4th. The Storm is gonna have to deal a ridiculous amount of damage. Now, the choke point is pretty tight. Reynor is ready. Oh, jeez, it's ugly. It's kind of dirty. He basically has to weather the storm. Man, I'm getting deja vu to previous games that we've seen like this. But I think the numbers here for Zerg are, yeah, just barely not enough. My god, Storm is so nuts. That entire Zerg army just died. The Hydra slithered away. If they would have died too, this would have actually been disastrous, but... Mana held. He managed to bring everything he had. He had like an old baseball bat in the basement. He had like a chair that he threw at his opponent. He asked his neighbor. Maybe he could come and hang out as well. Decided to yeet the kitchen sink across. And somehow, some way, it worked out. Now, he's not out of the woods just yet, though. The gas mining is still, yeah, just not there. And while the Mutas are going to pay the price right now for existing, there's another wave. And we have an awful lot of units yet again ready to go. There are about 4 or 5 storms again, though. Are we going to try a different choke point? Actually, there's more storms over here, too. Yeah, we have like 10 storms in total. There's 1, there's 2. Couple of Banelings trying to slip through the cracks. Storms are still going down, and obviously you can morph the High Templar into Archons afterwards. Okay. Simultaneously, there was a bit of an attack over at the 4th. And that one was successful for Reynor. But my god, this has been a bit of a roller coaster. We're going carriers right now, too. Reynor has decided to just keep sending in the skeletons. He's building up another base all the way in the top right. But I guess the plan is to rinse and repeat. I don't know if Tato Citadel is that good of a map for this sort of thing. But hey, we may as well test the waters. This is where you do really miss the energy recharge strength, though. A couple of the units here are trailing behind already, though. We have some troops going through. Banelings. Ugh. They wanted to go after both the High Templar as well as the Probe. The Nexus itself is going to go down. That'll do. Yeah, and I think all of this is now justified. Even though it's been an extremely expensive set of attacks, Reynor just has way more income now. Look at this. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. He gets another council on that base, but it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Now Zerg is getting +3/+3 going, and they're gathering... Ooh. Well, all of the High Templar kills, and also about 2,000 resources more a minute. Overwhelming swarm as well on the right side. It's impressive how long Protoss can hold on in these type of scenarios, but there is no way out. And that means that he decides to tap out. And that means it all comes down to this. Final game in this best of 3 series. We find ourselves on White Rabbit. Now, I was promised... a little bit of cheese! It is a forge indeed. I was wondering if maybe I was accidentally casting the wrong series. But nope. It is apparently this particular best of 3. I mean, the games have been spectacular regardless, so it doesn't really matter, but it's nice to see we are going for some good old Polish cheese. Now, I learned just now that apparently there is some excellent smoked Polish, I think it's sheep's cheese, which sounds absolutely delicious right about right now, man. So bring it on. We are canon rushing. We are canon rushing one of the world's greatest Zergs, and I think right now he sees that something's fishy, but he doesn't... Ooh, he tried to probe. He doesn't know about the cannon rush itself. Mana is going for a 300 IQ strat, where he is making it look like this right over here is the threat. Sneaky little worker. It was within vision of the hatchery here just a moment ago. I do believe that this here, well, at least the photon cannon is going to get shut down. Cancels, gets the majority of the money back, but this right here is problematic for Reynor. How in the world is he ever going to be able to hold on to this base? Yeah, it's a lot of gateways added into the mix as well. This one is going to fall. The pylon, okay, is also going to get sniped, but obviously drone damage is very low. And Mana is certainly not going to give up on that. Now, he was hoping that he was going to be able to finish up the gateway so he could go straight into a cyber core. He needs to wait now until that new gateway is going to get the job done, and it's going to buy Reynor a bunch of time, but honestly, this is looking pretty problematic. A lot of Zerglings are coming, though. Okay. That one will certainly go down. This one will certainly fall as well. Hatchery is still at about maybe 40% HP. It's messy. It's kind of dirty. Spinecrawler, though, is going to be done in a moment. Zerglings dive deep, and it looks... it's at the cost of a lot of Zerglings, but it looks like eventually the units here do indeed, well, snipe the probe. Can Reynor keep the base alive? I don't think so. Second Zealot just about to pop out. He's going to try. There's a lot more links coming. He's going to use the drones as well to apparently, I guess, soak up some of the damage? Or he actually has decided that he's going to hold this. I think he does. What a... it's a defense, yeah. What a defense we're looking at. This is a weird one. But I think Reynor just barely holds. What a mess. If he can snipe the pylon, obviously that'd be big. Losing the queen and the spinecrawler there was unfortunate. It's not over yet. Cybercore is now done. And that's going to give him the opportunity to now make adepts, stalkers, and all the rest of it. The zealots are still in a really good spot. A new spinecrawler is building. I thought for a moment there that Reynor had already finished the defense. But that's not the case. Yeah. Now, keep in mind that if Mana does have to give up on this aggression, it is going to be quite difficult for him to do anything. Because he doesn't have a Nexus, he doesn't have a Stargate, he doesn't have any tech. And I don't believe he's going to be able to keep these gateways alive. No, it's pretty much already dead. Reynor now starts droning. Nexus begins on the other side of the map. We do go for a Stargate, I guess, eventually. It's been messy, but it's a hold. Okay. 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 So, as the dust settles, who's ahead? Reynor is at 24 workers. Mana is at 21. The real problem is losing all that infrastructure. Reynor did lose a queen and a spinecrawler there, but, I mean... in a way, they are like Zerg infrastructure, but not the end of the world. Cost efficiency-wise, It hasn't been that great for the Zerg, but you gotta, for the Protoss rather, but you gotta keep in mind that Zerg also had an awful lot of mining time lost. So, yeah, that's where this roller coaster in the income advantage. It's the weirdest graph I've seen in a while. That's where that roller coaster over here comes from. Zergling run by is not gonna be able to achieve much unless he actually gets into the bases, and honestly, that might just be a doable strat. Okay. He did not expect the photon cannon to be part of the wall-off. The thing is, Reynor is now just holding down the drone button. He's already got safety spores coming up. And it's going to be really difficult, if not impossible, for Mana to be able to catch up, economically speaking, with a Zerg that just can pump out workers out of every single bit of larva that, well, becomes available. Any sort of timing attack from here is just going to be so massively delayed. Imagine, though, if that first gateway had actually finished and the Cybercore was able to start up a lot earlier. That entire strat from Protoss would have been like 30 seconds faster, roughly. At least the Adept follow-up, and we probably would have let less Zealots. I wonder if maybe the Adepts could have shaded into the main base at that point and really wreak havoc over there, too. That was on a knife's edge. Oracle has to settle, though, for a little bit of creep aggression, which I think Reynor will be quite happy with. Okay. It looks like we're gonna go for an all-in for all the marbles, maybe? Nah. He's getting the charge upgrade and then also the +1 ground. But simultaneously, he's also thinking about building a third Nexus. I almost wonder if this third Nexus is fake. Only going up to 3 gateways right now, though, so I guess it is a real Nexus. Chrono Boost is quite nice. It does really give you a lot more worker production than a Terran would be able to muster at this point, but nice little attack here from Reynor. He can force the cancel on this one, I think. Oracle is going to show up, but the link production is good enough. He does cancel at the absolute last split second. Okay. So Reynor has fully stabilized. He's got... yeah, additional gas mining coming in right now. Lara's just about to finish up. He did skip out on a Roach Warren yet again. I would imagine we're going straight Hydra then. Yep. With the Lara done, Hydra then is going to fire up. Gas is taken over at the third. And now, Reynor is going to secure full 3-base saturation on the workers. That probably means he's going to be looking at a 4th hatchery here in just a moment. He will go for the safety Roach Warren, the secondary Evo Chamber 2. Obviously, he doesn't know what the follow-up from the Protoss is going to be, right? So what is it? Well, it's double Robo. Okay, a little bit strange. We have a bunch of Zealots over here, too. Man, I wonder if he would have committed to, like, a full all-in with the Zealots. Whether or not this still would be viable. Good enough hold for now, though. Bunch of Zealots over at the third. Yeah, if this would have been like a fake third Nexus into like an 8-gate all-in with charge and +1, which is something we have seen Protoss do a lot. I wonder if this would be a winnable strategy then, but you never know, right? Is there already a Baneling Nest waiting? Is there already a Roach Warren done? In this particular instance, Reynor decided to skip for both of those upgrades, at least until just now, so... or both of those unit-producing structures at the very least until just now. But it's yeah, it's a strategy that may have been able to do at least something. It's going to be pure Hydra-bane, though, for Reynor. The Zealots are trying to put in as much work as they can. But what do you do right now as Protoss? Okay, yeah, we are just sort of chilling. He's getting himself a Robo Bay right now, so we have the double Robo. That's nice. Immortal production has sort of been useful, but he's only made 2 of them before now going Robo Bay. Effectively, Mana is not able to go for any sort of play other than like Zealot run-bys and maybe a War Prism or something, but he can't really do anything until he's probably maxed. And we're a very long while away from that. Okay, Zealots are trying their best to not charge at the Banelings. These are obviously not speed Banes yet. Reynor has found an opportunity where he hopes that he can break through all of this right now. He's probably afraid that Storm is yet again going to be a possibility. Mana holds, though, with some pretty good unit control. Colossus does start up, and I mean, a Colossus is a phenomenal weapon of choice, of course, against Hydra-bane. Colossi dealing bonus damage to light. But it looks like Reynor has decided that we're basically gonna try and do the same thing as we did in the previous game. And that is just send in wave after wave after wave of Hydra-bane. Once there are like 2-3 Colossi out, this is the type of thing that is no longer viable. But Colossi are so expensive, and at this point Mana can't even really afford the ranged upgrade for the Colossus, which is the main thing that enables their true strength. We'll probably see a bunch of Banes, yep, rolling into the mineral line. At least I wouldn't mind it. He's mostly just dancing, though. Really just allowing the Hydras here to get their damage in. Very little reason here to attack move with those units. Now a Colossus does show up. Reynor shuts his opponent's base down. And that now means that Mana, 11.5 minutes in, yeah, is on 2 base economy. And per usual, at about minute 10, that's usually when the main base starts running low. And obviously, well, this game, it started off with very low eco, right? Like, neither player really had a lot of workers mining. So I guess the base could maybe last reasonably well until like minute 14. But being stuck on 2 bases as a Protoss at the 12-minute mark or so against a 4-base Zerg that might just be able to do whatever they like, it's not a situation you can really play from. So ultimately, this is indeed a victory here for Reynor, a 2-1 win. But I gotta say, that game number 1 was an absolute beauty of a match. One of the very best games of Protoss that I've seen on the new patch so far. And then this game number 3, I mean, the cannon rush, like, it was this close to working.